Hi, kids. It's Mike from Cup of Rad with
Katie.
And this week is...
It is episode 69, and it's all about My Hero Academia.
On this week's episode of Cup of Rad. Okay, so a little different episode than our usual.
Yeah, it's like one topic.
One topic, one, smaller kind of centralized thing. The reason why we're doing that is because we just saw Heroes Rising this weekend.
Yes.
For the My Hero Academia movie. And we've been watching that anime, reading that manga, and...
It's entirely taken over our household.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
There's no other way to say that. It's just like, what's the new anime fandom?
No.
Yes.
This one here I'm really excited about because this was one of the ones that I found on my own.
That is true.
It was not recommended to me by anyone. Right.
Except for the entire universe with all the merch and like.
Well, okay, yeah, but.
You didn't have a friend say, "Hey, Mike, you should read this."
No, I should watch it.
Okay, yeah.
Watch it.
Always watch it.
It's always watching.
Yes. No one ever says,
we're always watching you.
Have you read
every time you turn on this podcast, we're the eyes and ears. We hear and see everything.
Sure.
I don't know, just going to fearmonger for a moment.
Cup of Red Watchtower.
Watchdogs.
Brother Eye.
But no, it was one of those ones where I started seeing a lot more of the merch and all that around, and I was like, well, those characters look really cool and all that. I wonder what it is. And then I started reading it, and then
every single time, All Might, not gonna lie, I didn't know anything about him, and he just looked like a bad guy. And every single time I saw him, like, something is shifty about him.
Right, and it was weird.
I really did,
because here I'm reading, I'm like, nah, he's a good dude.
No, I'm like, no, there's got to be an angle. Yeah. He can't be a good guy. He's
smiling too much, and that's the thing that
he makes me unnerved.
He says though,
and it's such a weird thing.
Don't see you smiling, then they know something's wrong.
And then immediately when I watched the movie there, and like when you talked to me about it and everything, and then when I watched one of the anime episodes, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get it, but. Yeah, he looked like he was a bad guy of some sort. Like, I wasn't sure because all the merch we would see at Hot Topic, and yeah, he just seemed like I wasn't going to be right. So it's a pleasant surprise to actually find out that he really was just a good guy, and he still is. He's just still a good guy.
A quote I've used actually quite a few times. I've even used it in class with some people. Is I love the one quote that he has is it's not whether you win or lose. It's what you learn from the experience.
Yeah, that's a good thing to think about.
It's a great, it's a...
You know what, honestly, that's even something for like Kiddo that they talk about his karate tournaments. And Sensei always tells him, it's the fact that you're here. It's not that you get a medal. It's the fact of what did you get out of the experience for it. So, and
I absolutely love that. And I think that's something that should be looked at, especially in sporting events. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, at anything, and really just anything you do, you're always going to... if you're always perfect, you're never going to learn to get better.
Yeah, perfect people don't get better.
Yeah. And I think that's something that if we can accept failure, we can get better.
Yeah.
Right? And accept criticism and change and all this stuff to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I think this series for myself is really showing. And it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
Reading and all that. Like, it gets me all jazzed.
Well, yeah, we'll meet up at the gym after he's been watching an episode, and he's just all jazzed about
go beyond plus ultra, kitty.
Yeah, right.
Squat.
Well, then you turn
around. Those are baby weights.
I read the wrong weight the other day, and I was following Mike's weight from a back squat, and I was like, wow, this is really hard. Oh, that's why, because I'm lifting way heavier than I was doing it before.
And yet you did it.
And I still managed to do it. So he's like, so you were being all wussy about it last week then, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
apparently we're training to get better.
Yep.
This is quite funny.
It's what you learn from the experience.
There you go.
You can actually lift heavier.
I can do better.
So we hadn't seen the first movie, Two Heroes.
Yeah.
So we watched that the other weekend in
Thank you, Amazon, for
quick serving.
Prime delivery on that. Right. I was like, oh, crap, I can watch it tomorrow. I'm going to order it now.
So that one there is a story that All Might heads to a little like tech island kind of expo thing because of old friends there, and bad guys show up. And it's a really good movie.
I really enjoyed it.
It's like My Hero Academia Die Hard.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like they're literally like
The building's been taken over.
Yeah, and they're crawling through air vents,
Yeah.
and they're
How do we get to the top?
and
People are hostile. Oh my god, it totally is Die Hard.
yeah,
Oh,
it's the anime Die Hard with superheroes.
that's fantastic.
There's a helicopter explosion.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
I like it even more now.
right.
Even more now.
And for me, it's a great movie, especially when you get to see All Might and Deku fight together,
Oh, that was like
and like the music and the like. That's
goosebumpy. Word.
yeah, it's something you don't like. I love the manga, but the anime allows you to see action.
The fluidity of it.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
and it takes it to
I like
another
the bright
level.
colors.
Yes, and like
And
the light and the
Yeah.
sparkle and all that, right?
Yeah. That's one thing. There's sparkle. I love the sparkle. That was, say for my Sailor Moon, it being all black and white, and then to see the anime suddenly, and you're like, okay, I didn't see it like with this color, or you see the swirlingness and the magical almost of it, and that was the same thing with My Hero and I love the little scene they have with his power showing the one for all. Power kind of power up feel. I like that, like spiritual bouncing between
between each of the different
I think
ones.
that's a really cool effect to see that, right? So
well, interesting enough, we were talking to Kiddo today just even about souls and like energy dispersing and movement, and I was able to say, well, look at like My Hero. That idea that energy goes between people and it's always changing and adapting to create its own thing. I was like, it's almost like a allegory for that idea of power or spiritualness being passed on.
Well, even change into a story of like a cultural story, even like our cultural norms, our history being passed between generations, and we should always be doing something to improve our generation, rather than we don't want to forget about our past, but we want to improve on it for a better future. And even that is something that we as a humanity is kind of failing at right now. We're not looking at what we want to forget the past. We want to not learn from the past. We want to also not make the future better. We're in a weird place. Yeah. And, something
because we don't have a symbol of peace.
We don't have a symbol of peace. Right? No.
Come on, Chrisabot. Throw on that All Might suit. Ha 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 ha! I am here.
Yeah, Mike, ever since we met him and then we're watching more of this, like he has his moments where he just goes back and forth between all these different voices now. Like even more so. Suddenly he sounds like All Might.
That's it. It's going to be my new voice.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start talking like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just going to be deep and somber.
Our podcast listeners haven't ever heard you just totally change voices or anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never.
This is me now.
This is me now. So
if you get that reference, high five.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I showed Kiddo Bob's Burger. We're gonna have a tangent. Bob's Burger art crawl episode. Art crawl. He was mortified and hysterical all at the same time. It was great. He was just like, "What? What is happening?" And then at the end, when Louise is telling Bob that, it's just over and over, and he was just hysterical. He thought it was the funniest thing. That shut your mouth, it's art crawl. Shh, art crawl. So I think that will be always used whenever, especially money is involved, where it's like the don't ask. It's art crawl, like. Because I have to find a reason somewhere in my life.
Hand someone money and go,
art crawl. It'll probably be you, but still.
Anyways. Next con, you need to wear the shirt again.
Yeah.
Only have cash.
Yeah.
And if they say anything, just go, shh.
Art crawl. Yep. That is my new thing now. That's my new thing.
And if they get it, then you can high five them. If not, then you're like, I'm sorry for you.
I'm retracting my art crawl.
This transaction is null and void. Yeah. I'm sorry.
As president of the Art Crawl Association, I do not approve of your display. Okay, we are off tangent. Back to My Hero.
So
this movie, the Two Heroes, that was really awesome.
Yeah,
we really liked it.
It's a great also introduction if you don't watch this series. For me, like I had never seen any of the dubbed
anime at all. I don't read the book. I'm learning about the characters from you and Kiddo talking about it. I've watched one episode which happened to show it was basically one of the first ones where Deku actually met All Might to begin with. Like that was the only one that I'd seen, and that was the subtitled one.
Yeah.
And so this was really my first introduction.
We mentioned that because Chris Sabat said, "No, you got to watch the dub." Like, right? Why aren't we?
Well, of course we have to because he's in it. So that's what he's saying.
And then Kiddo was just like, "Guys, we got to watch the dub. Like, why are we watching the sub? Like, I mean, come on."
Yeah.
So then we started watching the dub. We got Funimation.
Yeah. Thank you, Fan Expo, for your coupon.
And so we've been watching that. And so now when Kiddo has been watching it, now that he's met Chris Sabat, he's like, I met him. And then he's like listening to his voice, and like so like the one scene he saw when All Might was young, he was like, it sounds like Yamcha. Yeah. And then he gets older, and then he sounds more like Piccolo, and then he's like, I can hear all his voices in him.
See, and that's really cool because I know that you really care about voice actors, and we've really found a great love about them because, you know, our listeners don't understand that we love voice actors or anything like that. So.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We don't love voice actors at all.
And I totally understand that trippiness of like the way, you know, even Paulson, right? You're like, you hear him and you're like, wow, I've actually like been in that man's presence, and it's a weird thing, right? So
I've smelt his aura.
Whoa, dude. Apparently we know where Mike's experience was.
Not physically, metaphorically.
I understand what you're talking about.
You said bask in their presence.
So bask in their presence.
Or bathe in their presence.
Bask in their glory. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked the movie though. It was really fast paced. There was a lot of good action. Everyone kind of got a place in the limelight. You learned about all the characters, you know? And I thought it was a really, you know, it was a good snapshot. I didn't have to know about everything that was going on back in Japan. I didn't have to know about everything other than right here. And it still was a good enough story without having to have backstories for everyone else or explanations for things. So I really enjoyed that one for sure. So with that, I was very excited to see the new movie. Even more so, right? So...
Well, you know, once we show Katie something, we're like, hey, this is cool. She's like, hey, holler at you.
I resisted. I was trying to push for him and Kiddo to go to the movie by themselves.
But we had other things we had to do.
We had other things to plan. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go. Because, you know, it can't be bad.
Yeah.
And maybe I won't understand it that much, but it can't be bad. So I will go. And they allowed me to join them.
So Heroes Rising is basically the idea that they are on an island again.
Yeah.
And they're being able to work as independent heroes in an area that doesn't have any heroes.
Yeah, they're trying to find new heroes. So there's like a work study almost for them that they figure, it's low crime. It won't be a problem. Yeah. And they can have a chance to kind of, you know, stretch.
No teachers, no anything. It's just class 1A is out there doing their own things, having to solve everything on their own.
Yeah.
So kind of like, it's a work experience feel of like getting to really, and being that it's supposed to be no real crime. There's not much that they're really dealing with.
Yeah. They were just more like helping people run errands or like, my battery
carrying Granny to the hospital and batteries and
like small town, you know, community service basically.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but with that there, it was pretty epic.
It was.
It was pretty fantastic.
It was a little slow getting into the story. There was a lot of build up for it.
There was a lot more backstory this time to tell you kind of the story thus far. Yeah,
and like you wanted to know a little bit more of the relationship amongst some of the classmates, and then build up of the villain group. And kind of more of the mystery of like what's going on, what are they doing? You could tell there was a big master plan somewhere, and you didn't quite know what he was after and why and anything like, and the true threat that he was, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a little slow going, and I was worried because the first one was so much more like get right into it.
Bam.
Because it was a lot clearer, and then you had the twist at the end. But then when the action did start, then
didn't let up.
Yeah, it was really good, and I really liked the development of the stories.
I do think that this one allowed for more screen time of the rest of the class. Each of them got a little bit more. Well, they answered their little groups, own. Right? Yeah. Kind of like shone a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because the other one was more of a streamlined. This one was a little bit wider base of it all.
Well, I liked learning about some of the characters that weren't in the heroes, the two heroes, and seeing some of them use their power and learn how to work it together as a team. It wasn't all about Deku.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like what's his show and what's going on with him. It was great that they all had their own strengths, their own groups, and one thing that I know you said you really like is that the heroes all do have some sort of limit or weakness they have to contend with.
Yeah.
And
usually their powers drain, or they overuse them, or there's...
And that's one thing you don't really see in American comics, which is an interesting
like
concept.
Superman. Yeah. That's about the only one, but they got to find that space rock, right?
Right? And it's such a limited thing. And it's not something that it's other than just an imprisonment. It's not something that he has to deal with on a normal basis. Someone else has to do something to him.
Yeah. Well, like I said, though, reading this and watching it, it feels like X-Men only done better.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really weird coming from me because X-Men's like my favorite Marvel comics.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that idea because quirks are basically just mutant powers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's just
a dormant power that kicks in and blah, 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 blah. But they're learning each time to use them. And you're finding out, like, you know, Ochaka, she is slowly getting to learn her gravity powers longer and longer so she doesn't vomit as quickly, right? Like,
oh, okay.
Right? So it's like, you know, or the naval laser dude, he gets sick too. He's got to run to the bathroom.
He had so much sparkle.
And Monui. But they all have, like, you know, Fruppy, if she's too cold, she hibernates.
Yeah.
Like they've all have
like Momo, she doesn't have an unlimited supply of lipids, right? And I thought that was interesting that and Deku at some point should have not a lot of limitations, but his power is also not permanent.
His power is breaking his body every time he uses it. So
that is a pretty big payment to have to deal with.
He's only using, you know, at this point in the series, he's only able to tap up to 20% before his body shatters, basically.
Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting idea because then it is that concept of always having to get better opposed to just being naturally having gifted.
Yeah.
And it's that, like, okay, so you look back at American comics, let's say we look at the big three for DC. Batman obviously has worked very hard to be where he is. But at the same time, because he's so rich as Bruce Wayne, it's also a whole another level that the normal person can't really achieve to be at. A normal person can't even comprehend being Batman because Batman is funded so well, let's be honest, you know? Or Wonder Woman is a goddess, essentially, right? And yes, she does train hard and she has to have a lot of
she was naturally
moral navigation, right? But yeah, she's naturally God gifted, like literally. So they're so far outside of realms of getting better. And yes, these heroes have a science fiction aspect of quirks, but they're not just like, well, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it's like the X-Men factor. Like Cyclops never seems to run out of his blast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
his laser's just always there.
Yeah, it's always there. And they don't like get weaker or you know, get shorter. It's just, they're always there until he gets knocked out.
Yes.
Right. You know, the only one that really has a limit was Wolverine because it's how much pain and damage to his body.
Yeah.
Right. But the other ones, even still, like, they don't really to take out an X-Men, you knock them out.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much how you take out an X-Men. They don't have other limitations. Their mutant ability goes on. So what? Because they're never actually training.
Then what are they really training to do?
Yeah. Right. So that's one thing. Like
other than just fight, the idea of just combat, more, right? Or teamwork, those types of things. But that should be part of it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just been loving this series because not only are they having to contend with training their power, they're also having to contend with training their body. So like Deku had talked about, I'm getting stronger in my legs. That has allowed me to go from the 5 to the 8 to the 20% because my body gets stronger. I can use more of this quirk so I can learn more to use this quirk. Yeah. Right. And I just think that's a great message, especially for kids to see that trying, pushing, you can get better at what you're doing.
Well, I think that's a really important thing for people to see right now. And it's hard to instill that in a child.
Yeah.
And so if you can find a medium that is trying to show
To
them that in
inspire
a
them.
different way that's outside of their normal world, right?
Yeah.
Because some kids understand that easily. They see that, or maybe they're in a sport and it just happens, no problem. But we've experienced some kids just take extra effort for it,
Yep.
right?
So as we tangent off, because, why not? That's what makes it interesting, right? The tangents are the more interesting part of everything.
Wandering around.
Aimlessly.
We're not aimless. We're at least on the same topic.
But with the movie Heroes Rising, the whole premise of the story is basically there is a new villain on the scene that the League of Villains has kind of unleashed.
Yeah.
He has this idea that he wants to control the world, creating a utopia.
I think it's so funny. It's such a weird concept that villains just think that they can create this new world that they think is going to be better in the way it should be. And it's like, oh my goodness. You just want to control something. It's no different. But anyways, we also can't think like a madman. So
he has the ability to take power. So similar to All for One.
Now, am I correct that he was manipulated genetically to be able to? Because he had some of the power of All for One.
He was manipulated genetically to be able to contain more.
Okay, that's what I thought. So he was
Up
called
to
9 because he has the ability then to take 8 more of them. So okay.
So then he was going through finding quirks and taking them, and he found one that he wanted, and it was on this island.
Dun, dun, dun. It's the one that he not just wanted, he needed it. Otherwise, he was dying, right?
Yeah.
And you had my favorite henchman that he had was what, Chimera?
Chimera, yeah.
This dude was like insanely strong, and he just kept getting. He was one of those ones where you looked at it and you're like, really? I can't find a weakness.
Where is your weakness? Yeah.
You were like unstoppable thing, right?
But it mirrored his name though, because he was a Chimera.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I thought that was an interesting concept because with that name, I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna be scary.
Yeah, he just kept bursting out into other things.
Yeah. So they ended up having this little kid that they find out thereafter, right? And I thought it was interesting because the story behind Deku wanting so bad to make sure he promised that these kids had the hope of being okay, and to prove not that he could win anything, but just to prove that he would be there and that he would always show up. And I thought that was really great to see because his sister was and he was recognizing the reason why his sister was so anti-hero, and he was very observant and very compassionate, and you can see all those aspects of things of why then All Might chose him as a successor.
Yeah.
Because you can't teach that feeling and that empathy and that compassion towards people. And you need someone like that to have that sheer power. Yeah. Right? You need someone who has that will and that determination and the mental ability to assess a situation and not just hit things. Right. And I really liked that it showed that. And to me, it conveyed that just in the movie, not just, I didn't have to know about the characters otherwise. So I did a good job of, if I had never really known much about it, I could watch that and be like, oh, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And I understand who he kind of is. Yeah. So.
I think that's something kind of cool is to talk about this on the shows because like I'm steeped in the manga and the anime, and you're just seeing the movie for as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You've only seen the other movie, right? Like, so it's kind of cool to see you can find an appreciation for it with just seeing 2 movies. You've only spent not even 3 hours within this world.
Right. And seeing it on my own, not just your version of what you're telling me from the book. Right.
So, which I think is good as a story for people to know. Yeah. That it's not just, it's not that just that weird anime thing. Right. Like,
right.
So, but yeah, so the whole thing comes down to he wants this kid's quirk, and this is something that's cool about too. The kid's father has cell manipulation, but only works on blood A. Yeah. Right? The kid has the same quirk, but only works on B. Yeah. 9 needs the B. Yes. Right? So that's where it goes. And we find out, though, that apparently Deku and Bakugo both have blood type B then.
That is true.
Because the kid does it on them.
You're right. It would work that way. So, yeah, and because that's the only thing that's weird with blood types then is that they would have to be B. So what are the chances of that actually working, right? And I really loved their relationship, Bakugo's and Deku's.
Yeah. This was the most I've liked Bakugo. Yeah. And if we butcher names, it's still hard.
Yeah, I don't know it very well, so I'm trying to listen to it. So
yeah, that's the one thing that I have a hard time with My Hero is that because they use like those traditional
so
names, or they've got their first name, their last name, and then their hero name, right? So
that's why I'm not gonna lie, Sailor Moon is really easy because I can just call them by Sailor planets of some sort, right? Like,
but even
because I don't know all the actual first names, because I do have a hard time with it, because of the proper Japanese way to refer to in a honorific aspects for things, it makes it difficult because it's a language style that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand where they change their names sometimes and then drop them down or make them longer. And it's so different than what we have over here. And then, with My Hero, then they go back and forth between a hero name and their regular name and all that sort of stuff. So we're trying.
That's the thing is that like we've just broken into anime too, right? So we're noobs on that. There's nothing that's wrong with that because y'all got to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. I could totally see the parallels. All I could think about the entire movie was Goku and Vegeta from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Every single time. And I thought it was just really funny because you had Goku as Deku, and he's just like
the optimist,
assessing the situation, and optimist, and I can do this no matter what, and I'm strong enough, and everything's gonna be great, guys. Everything's wonderful. Like, we've got this, no problem. And then you have Bakugo, who's Vegeta, who just is like, I'm gonna
kill you,
and I'm just going to use my sheer strength, and I will defeat you, and I will win, and I will do whatever I need to. And I will
be better than you.
I will be better than you because I know I'm better than you, and there's no question about it, right? And I hate you, Deku, because you don't see it the same way as I do, but I also understand that you're strong, and it's like this whole conflict, right? And that's all I could see the entire time was Goku and Vegeta. It's got to be inspired. Well,
let's slide that over to near the final battle.
Yes, when they Super Saiyan.
And even Kiddo was just like, guys, did you not see that? They went Super Saiyan.
Totally.
And because the hair was flittering and the
blue
lights,
orb, light orb around.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really cool because if that was the intent, then it's pretty awesome that they had that homage in there.
It was fabulous.
And it just looked pretty rad.
Kiddo's already asked for a pop of them Super Saiyan'd out.
Yeah.
He's like, I want that as a two-pack of them like that. Like Super Saiyan / fused.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So in the case of, if you've listened this far, you probably not, you've heard a bit, but there is a spoiler aspect. This took me off. This was the mind blowing. And when we met Chris Sabat, he said, this movie's going to blow your mind.
He was right.
And there was that moment where I was like, cause this is not in the manga, right? Anime hasn't caught up to anything where this is, cause this is after where it is technically, right? Deku hands the power over to Bakugo.
Yeah, because he realizes that he is not. They had combined all this stuff, and they had both beat the living daylights out of this guy. Look at me, not swearing at him. And and they had done so much and pushed so hard, and it still wasn't enough. And he was just like, he's gonna, All Might would do whatever it takes to make sure justice is served, and that. Not win, but everyone's safe.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make sure this little kid is safe without doing something drastic. And I thought when he looked over and you have that kind of, they both looked at each other, and it was Bakugo was like, oh my God, he's going to do something like crazy and ridiculous type thing. And I thought it was just really done well emotionally.
Yeah.
To not tell them what was going on. It wasn't like, let's do this.
Yes, they just did it. There was no monologuing.
Yes, you saw it happen, and I thought that was well done.
So then he's like, well, if you give me the power, then how are you gonna fight? And he's like, well, All Might still had the spark, so I'm gonna do it anyways, and we're just gonna, I'll wear it out if I have to, and that's when they go Super Saiyan. Yeah. Right. And
because it was interesting then, because it wasn't like the power just flowed over to him. I was expecting at first that Deku would just be like, wither and die, feel like, he was going to just crumble. And I like that it was both of them. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's more of a link than anything. It's more of a flow through of power, right?
Well, like in the everything though, All Might still was able to use the power after he gave it to Deku. It just was getting, every time he used it, it got weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker till it was diminished, right?
Exactly.
So there's still some left behind.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping. And then, but Deku just kept saying, "This is the last thing I'll ever do," type thing. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah, so I was just sitting there thinking, oh my God, like,
right?
Is it?
They can't just end this like, now. But yeah, the battle that proceeded, that came after that, holy moly,
spectacularly done. You know, it was
the music was so different than what you're used to for action type things, though, and it
operatic, kind of like poppy operatic,
lights everywhere and colors and explosions.
You know, I'd seen a thing that had said there was like a 4D theater that was playing with like smoke and lasers and all that, and I'm sitting there watching that because at first I was like, well, that'd be kind of weird, right? But I'm sitting there watching this and I'm like, oh my God, we should have totally done that. Like,
this would have been amazing.
Moving seats, 4D, like
lights and smoke, and
just blowing your mind,
right? So I thought that was unbelievable, and then I thought it was interesting because even with Bakugo then acknowledging that someone was sharing something with him. That it wasn't just the winning aspect. He was accepting help from someone else to be better.
And that's good on his character.
Yeah.
Right?
And I thought you could tell that was something that was different for him, right? Yeah. He couldn't do everything by himself too. And they had been working so well together as a team already. And it was like, no, we need to, there needs to be something more. And, you know, we have something to gain as a combined force. Yeah. So I really liked
it was a great movie. And we've already spoiled, but the power did not leave Deku.
Yes.
It was just...
I was so happy.
That was a bit of a relief.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Because like I'm sitting there in my mind, I'm like, but it always says, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero. I was like, well, it can't end this way because he never was the greatest hero.
Yeah. So I thought that was when All Might showed up then with that. And he was so proud of Deku for what he'd done, but so mortified at the same time. You know, it had a conflict for him, and then so happy when he found out that the power was still there, and just so like overwhelmed that it had done something different.
Yeah.
And that was, I'm getting all goosebumps.
It was like the reinforcement that the choice he made was correct.
And that the power knew that Deku was using it not to win, not as a give up last resort. It was he
needed help.
Yeah, he was asking for help, and he wasn't done with it yet.
Yeah, and
you know, it was used properly. It wasn't used to cause harm or anything of that nature. You know, and so that was all goosebumpy and emotional for sure. So
yeah, it was wild to see.
I thought it was interesting that they made it so the Bakugo didn't remember what had happened. I love that he woke up. What in the world happened to my arm?
Yeah, right. It's the first time he's ever been hurt.
Right. So that was quite funny for sure. And I liked at the end when they were leaving that hard exterior towards the kids had broken down a bit. It wasn't like stupid kids or anything like that. It was just like he was actually happy and had that little bit of a heart melting moment with him, right? So,
well, as I say, this is the most I've enjoyed that character because I've always been like, really, he's such a dick.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's softening up in the anime, but at the same time, but this is the most he was like, he seemed heroic.
Yeah.
Almost to fit that heroic.
Well, I thought it was cool with him, like that because, you know, he always is so much, he feels more like an anti-hero feel. Yeah. But as much as he's a dick, he was still there. He still would show up, and he had every reason when the girl called again to say he wasn't going to show up because the importance of not crying wolf with that.
Yeah.
Which was just that little lesson was slipped in there, and but he still cared. He still wanted to, even if he was driven by winning, he was still on the side of justice feel, right? Yeah. And so I thought that was good. It was never a question whether he was good or a bad guy, at least what I saw in that, right? So so that was good. He was lazy and definitely was like only wanted to be there for the fights, right?
He barely has a limit, right? Because his sweat is his power.
It's like it creates his own, he just keeps getting stronger.
Yeah. He's like, it's like the Hulk kind of feel, right?
Yeah.
So
It's a weird quirk, man. I mean, it's
Nitroglycerin sweaty palms.
Yeah. Just wow. Huh.
One thing I noticed though was it's another time that Zero and Ochaka work together and work so well together, and like it just give me that feeling that they're gonna find a spark to work together more.
Yeah.
Because they keep working together and they keep working well together.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that'll ever come into play more romantically, just because she's not getting any attention really from Deku.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that would make sense. At some point, shouldn't just keep telling girls they should just keep swooning over someone for no reason.
Yeah. So, and there was lots of fun jokes with Mineta.
Oh yeah, he was quite funny.
My balls.
Doesn't get less funny, actually. Those were my balls.
She wants to see my balls.
Ida was so funny. Like he's so stern and so like super traditional, like duty bound feel, right? And he just seems so intense. But I like because all of them are likable in their own way, and they're all there and they all want to help each other out and they're all very supportive, and that's why Bakugo stands out so much, is because he's not supportive. Yeah. But at the same time, he was still there all the time, right? And I liked how they broke into different groups and they all kind of had to work out and solve things. Oh, the bird dude, the spirit
Dark Shadow.
Yes. That was super awesome when he let go and just went crazy on that chick.
I can't remember her name, the pink alien queen. Yeah. Gets hurt and he just loses it.
Oh my goodness. That was just like
It shows the darkness and how much power he really has, and it hasn't really been explored yet.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. So. And I still got a shady feeling on Hawks. Yeah, I still don't think that he's on the up and up.
So do you feel that way from the book?
From the book, like too? Yeah, because we're not in the anime yet when he's showing up yet. But in the manga, I'm reading it. I'm like, dude, you know how you were all worried about All Might? Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about Hawks right now. So we'll see. I guess
he's like a double agent or something like that, or he's just into it for his own self.
I don't know.
He could like any moment.
He just always just is like just look shifty.
Huh. He was shifty just looking in this movie for sure.
Yeah, like he has like his own like thing going on. And he just kind of like just little like side glances, and he monologues for a moment. Like. Well, because he was talking about the villain. He was like, "What are you up to now?" Or what secrets are you hiding? And or what was your game plan or something like that. Like, so like there's just, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I just had the feeling that Hawks isn't 100% hero.
Well, you know what? I got that feeling even before you had said that, though. Yeah. The way he was portrayed in that. Yeah. And because the bad guys were just like clearly like, I'm going to kill things and raise the world, right? But, and the heroes are just like, I've got to save the day. Yeah. They're just so opposites, right? And
Endeavor, even though he's like just balls to the wall, like dick, he still is like, seems like he's trying to be a hero, but Hawks is so chill. Yeah. It just doesn't feel...
Seems almost too relaxed. Yeah. 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 I get that.
So, we'll see.
What is Endeavor's son's name again?
Shoto.
Shoto, okay. I like when they took down the Chimera and how much he pushed himself, because you've told me that he doesn't want to use the fire side of him, and that he used the lesson that his dad had given him about the fire and heating over but translated that into the ice side for him. And that was super brutal how they finally took Chimera down with that. But they didn't kill him, obviously.
Yeah, I was surprised that he didn't die.
How did he not die?
There was ice coming out of all of his orifices.
Like large amounts of ice. He wasn't just like, you know what? Also, too, it wasn't corny that he didn't turn into an actual ice brick. It was actually just shots of ice, how it would actually naturally show up, like pillars of it. Because I always thought that was funny in so many cartoons where you free someone and they turn into an actual block of ice. Like that was just the weirdest thing ever.
Maybe that's my quirk.
Yeah, right?
Ice brick.
Ice bricks. And, but yeah, I thought that was nice, cool to see him change that, and he was still able to use that power and do that. But when his dad would hugged him at the end, it was quite
hilarious.
Funny. He was just so
mortified.
Right? He was like, "Oh my god."
But no, I really got a kick out of it. It jazzed me up. I was just like,
I was so sad that we couldn't buy any My Hero merch at Hot
Well, I was
Topic
looking for a new shirt. I wanted to get a new shirt, and one, I couldn't find my size and any ones I liked, or every shirt that I liked, I'd pull it up like, oh, this graphic looks cool. And then it turned out to be like a women's shirt.
Of course, right? But you did get an All Might pop yesterday.
Yeah. I did. We went to Toy Traders. They had a leap year sale.
Yeah, so most Funko Pops we've bought in a long time, actually.
Yeah, you bought 4 and you got them for like a couple bucks off each of them.
Yeah,
which was a pretty good deal. And I got the school teacher All Might. Yeah, because I thought that was kind of cool with the thumbs up. Yeah, I'm holding out to try to find the Grandioso Ban Presto 11-inch.
That'd be pretty sweet. See, now I'm accepting of it because I know he's actually a good guy, not just like this weird, creepy, like I don't know why his eyebrows and his like antenna bangs really bothered me. I don't know why. It's really weird, but anyways.
I would love to be able to get like action figures out, but I'm just not sold on the McFarlane just for the scale.
It's the scale. You want someone scale that bothers you need me. Him to be towering over. Yeah. And with the Ben Presto that you do have of Deku, then it makes sense. Yeah. You want someone like that, right? But
I want that towering. We haven't been able to hear too much more about the Relotech, so I was like, yeah, I need my Hero fix.
But yeah, I really like the movie. Like, I'm excited to be able to watch it again. Yeah. I'm sure we'll buy it and we'll watch it again, and knowing even more from it and everything. And it was really well done.
Do you have a favorite character just from the 2 movies that you've watched at all, or anyone that you really stood out to you?
You know what? Honestly, the best part I really liked this movie was Deku and Bakugo, their relationship going back and forth. And I know you had commented, you're like, apparently you like, you talk about Vegeta and you talk about Bakugo, and you just kept going on about that. And I know I do, but
it was funny because whenever he would like yell at someone, I'd look over and Katie just would smile and she was just laughing. She's like, yes.
I don't know why. I'm not going to pretend that it's not true. Like, I did like him, right? Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not like, no, I know. What's wrong
but it's not okay for him what a dick that he is, though. Like, what is it?
But he's a fan favorite, though, right? Yeah. Like, he it's...
But that's why I think I liked the fact that he was actually working with him, though, and that you had that bit, that change and that positivity, right? I don't know right now. I mean, I like Momo's power is interesting, I think, because it's such a helpful thing. Mm-hmm. But like, it's just a weird thing that she can make anything. Like how it like it hurts my head to think like how can she actually?
That's where it gets into the science fiction fantasy. Right? You just have to You're accept it.
And so yeah, I'm still I it's something that I'm interested. Time. Yeah, there like I there's bits and pieces that I like of all of them, but it'd be interesting to watch them all again. But I did like the I can't remember his name now. The Dark Shadow.
Tokiyama.
Yeah, Kiddo really likes him.
His power is Dark Shadow.
Yeah. So. And
Kiddo wants to do that as a costume.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because I liked the way it was drawn on there too, where it was just kind of shaking a little bit like squiggly lines feel, and it was that was really cool. So I did like that, and especially when he kind of lost it a little bit. That was interesting. So yeah, what about you? Like no, you like...
I like Deku and All Might. Yeah. And it's odd for me to actually like lead characters. Yeah. Honestly. But I think it's just the inspiring nature of it. Yeah. And then I love Ruby. Yeah. And I just think because she's so underrated, because I think she's probably one of the best heroes. Yeah. Actually in the class, because she's able to inspire others while also getting stuff done. Mm-hmm. Right, which is unusual because she's not in it for money. She's not in it for anything else. She just wants to be a hero. She's like a rescue hero. And I like Ochaka just because I think her power is really cool. Yeah, I like the women in My Hero more than a lot of the guys, and I think it's just because they have some really cool quirks. Right, so but those are the ones I'm drawn to.
I like with Ochaka. You say. when you had first told me that she makes things weightless,
Yeah.
I thought, okay, well, she'd have to touch something or, those types of things. I didn't understand how it would work in a combat type situation. But then after watching the movies and seeing that she can go through and like touch things, tell them to rise, and then tell them to be able to drop, like, I was like, holy moly, that's really cool. Yeah. Like, that's really helpful, actually, to be able to gather things up, put something in a trap or something, and that is actually a really cool quirk and something different. Because as I say, I always thought it was something that, like, well, in the movie we watched, she just goes, okay, we'll go up and make them weightless and they're floating up. I'm like, there is how do they can't control themselves. They're just going up. Like, how is this helpful? And then for her to be able to like turn off the floating thing, I was like, oh, well, that's really awesome. That
connection to it.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. But there you go.
There you have it. It was a good movie. It was a good time.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about My Hero Academia. It's definitely something, if you haven't checked out, it's worth your time.
Yeah.
Either the manga or the anime, or check out one of the movies, Heroes Rising. You really don't need to know a lot about it to understand it. It gives you a good kind of like backstory in the opening credits kind of feel.
Yeah.
So if you just even want to check out something, you got an hour and a half, give that a go. And if that doesn't sell you to go back and watch the rest or pick it up, then it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think it's a better version of X-Men.
Yeah.
Without a lot of the backstabbing so far and political drama that happens in X-Men. Everything has a political nature, but like it gets too, X-Men's gotten too like civil war-y between its own factions.
Well, I think what we've found though in general is the anime and the Japanese comics itself, they don't go on forever.
Yeah, there's usually
and Marvel and DC, the two, more of American stuff, those guys have been around for so long.
And they just reboot.
Yeah, right? Is in reality, stories have a limit. We can't just keep saying, finding new things. Everything is just retold. And if you just keep pushing the same characters over and over and over again, you have to find different stuff.
Well, that's why I think too, like so many of the old X-Men now are more villains now than they're
because it's like, well, let's try this now.
Yeah, and I think that's
so maybe it just needs to end. At some point when you stop having good stories to tell, then or the core characters are being changed, then maybe something time to move on. So that's an interesting difference between the industries and the cultures there. That acceptance there, and I think maybe the more it's gaining so much popularity over here that who knows, maybe it'll help shift into it. You never know, right? I was sad when my Sailor Moon stopped, but at the same time, even that last arc was like, okay, well, it's kind of getting the same thing. How many big, huge, cataclysmic events can they actually happen?
Yeah.
And then do I really want to just read about their everyday lives?
Yeah.
No. So, okay, well, then we're good right now, So,
one thing I've noticed though with reading the manga is that each book ends on a cliffhanger. And it just like, it makes me want the next book, and so many of the DC and Marvel stuff I've been reading, it hasn't been leading enough of a hook to make me want to be like, when's my next copy?
Like, okay, well, I read this. Well, yeah, you put one of these, the manga down and you're just like, oh my God, I need to find the next one. Why is the next one? Well, it's to the point where now you've caught up where you can't get the one in the library and you're just like, Katie, I'm going to go buy this, by the way, because I need to know.
Yeah. And then now I've just got one more volume to read and then I'm waiting until June, right?
Yeah.
So I could read them individually, but I don't like digital.
Yeah.
I'm an old man. I like my books.
Nice.
Book smell.
Okay, well, I think we're done here.
All right. Well, thank you for everything, listening and coming on us our little My Hero journey. Stay rad.
Well, hey, first, do we have anything planned for next week? Do we know what's going on?
Well, it's our birthdays.
It is our birthdays.
So who knows if there'll be an episode.
Well, we're hoping to go see, we would like to go see Invisible Man.
Yep.
And there's also
Onward.
So those will most likely be the next two movies that we review, whether it's next week or the following week. But the next episode should be those.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes!